Hi all, and welcome back to EvaTech, where we go over the latest news on EV tech, which car interiors make you feel like royalty every time you sit inside. No more bland plastic that feels like touching dried lava. Thinking about really cool car interiors, it's tough to find many after 1970, especially in domestic cars. Sure, the 80s had some wild futuristic ones, but let's save that for later. Number 10, Ford LTD. We've got the 1969 to 1970 Ford LTD. Ford gave its big cars a makeover in 1969. Making this the second version of the LTD. It first came out in 1965 and was super popular. Chevy even made a similar car called the Caprice in a hurry to keep up. But back to the 1969 LTD. It looked awesome with its new design, and it had some cool stuff under the hood too. 1968 model was the first time the LTD had hidden headlights, and they kept that feature for the 1969 and 1970 models as well. They ditched the hidden headlights in 1971 though. Besides the cool exterior, the interior of the 1969 and 1970 LTD was eye-catching, especially if you got the Brougham package. Number 9, Mercury Marquis. We've got the 1967 to 1968 Mercury Marquis. This car first came out in 1967 and it only came as a two-door coupe until 1969. You couldn't get it as a four-door, whether it was a hardtop or a sedan. They made the Marquis to be the top-of-the-line model for Mercury in 1967. In the 1967 Mercury Marquis, we could even get air conditioning outlets or comfort stream outlets if you paid extra. Look at this genuine 1967 Mercury Marquis interior. Notice how beautiful the colours are on the seats and door panels. They used what they called mixed Corona vinyl for the fabric interior. You could get a mix of real leather if you preferred. Number 8, Pontiac Grand Prix. It's a car that changed how people saw luxury coupes back in 1969. We're talking about the Pontiac Grand Prix, specifically the ones made from 1969 to 1972. Now, the Grand Prix first came out in 1962 and did okay, but it hit its stride in the late 60s. By 1968, the design wasn't doing so well in sales, so Pontiac knew that they had to make some big changes to make it popular again. We've got the radio on the left side, there are controls for the wipers and headlights, and look right here in the centre, we've got the shifter. See that letter J on the front of the centre console? That's where you'd find the model name like J and SJ. Number 7, Lincoln Sedan. Back in 1958 and 1959, Lincoln came out with some big new cars. One of them was the Continental Mark III, which was super fancy and expensive. These cars had curvy designs that some people didn't like. By 1960, the Continental division was gone, but they still had the Lincoln Continental Mark V. Even Ford forgot about these cars when they brought back fancy coupes for Lincoln in 1969. Those 58 and 59 Lincolns had cool interiors, especially the instrument panel and steering wheel. Back in the day, some dealers replaced the glass on this instrument cluster to fix a problem with stress in that area. 1958 and 1959 Lincoln interiors were just amazing, especially the instrument cluster. In 1960, they changed it up, but we don't think it was as cool as the 58 and 59 designs. Number 6, the 1964 Imperial. We've got the 1964 Imperial. It was designed by someone named Elwood Engel. This car came after the 1961 to 1963 Imperials by Virgil Exner, who made those cool Chryslers in 1957 with sleek roofs and big fins. But Exner got fired because his designs in the early 60s didn't do so well. Then Engel came in. He used to work at Ford and helped design the 1961 Continental. If you compare the 1961 Continental to the 1964 Imperial, apart from the dashboard, the inside of the 64 Imperial is amazing. Neat little touches like these sleek chrome door handles. They feel so smooth when you use them. The materials they used are high quality. Those air conditioning vents on the dashboard too. You can pull them up and point them towards, you feel the cool air on your face. Number 5, the 65 Pontiac. We've got a cool car from Pontiac's awesome years, the 1965 Pontiac Grand Prix. We could have picked any 65 Pontiac, but we went with the Grand Prix because it had this neat real walnut wood on the dashboard, steering wheel and center console. Other Pontiac models in the mid-60s also had real wood on the dash, but to us the 65 Grand Prix is the best. We love the simple speedometer and 3 pods on the right, which have gauges for charging fuel and a clock. It seems to be 2 radios, but actually the left one's for controlling the air conditioning and heating. This car has cool rear tail lights that look sleek and stealthy, even though only the outer parts light up. We can tell the designers wanted the whole thing to light up, but it still looks awesome. We also love how the air-conditioned cars have this center vent blended nicely into the top pad. Steering wheel's like a beautiful piece of jewelry, especially on sunny days. And if you've got the Grand Prix, you'll also notice a gauge in the center console called the vacuum gauge, which not many people know about. Number 4, the 1961 Buick. 1961 Big Buick. It was new compared to the previous models. The design was a bit sleeker and less bulky than the 1960 version. The pointy front giving it a cool look inside. It had this super cool mid-century modern style with a dual cockpit design. There's a special spot for the driver and another for the passenger on the dashboard. It's just standing there looking awesome. The radio fits nicely into the design too. The speedometer is pretty neat. When you look at it, it seems like it's in the regular spot, but actually it's being reflected in a mirror below the dashboard. The setup not only looks cool, but also has practical benefits. It keeps the gauges out of the sun so they're easier to read. Plus the overall design inside the car, especially the instrument panel with its dual cockpit theme, is unique and stylish. Buick did something special with this design, standing out from other car brands at the time. Number 3, the Imperial. The 1961 to 1963 Imperial. It's like a car straight out of the Jetsons era, with funky freestanding headlights, a quirky grille, and massive fins at the back. The dashboard's like something from outer space, with push-button controls for the transmission and air conditioning. The steering wheel isn't round, it's like a semi-square, semi-circle thing. And check out that speedometer. The driver's seat's taller than the passengers for some extra comfort. Overall, it's one of the craziest car interiors ever, with futuristic door panels and a dashboard that's out of this world. It might not get cooler than this for its time. Number 2, the Astrodome. There's this cool interior design that Chrysler had back in the 1960s. It's called the Astrodome interior, and it was in their cars from 1960 to 1962. Chrysler was known for making some pretty awesome stuff, especially inside. The Astrodome interior was special because it had this super cool instrument panel. It's like the dashboard of your car, but way cooler. It had this fancy 3D design with all the important gauges and stuff like the speedometer, fuel gauge and others all in one place. It looked like something out of a sci-fi movie, especially when it lit up at night. The steering wheel even had this fancy touch to it, kind of like a piece of jewellery. There were buttons for controlling things like air conditioning on one side and the lights on the other. In 1960 to 1962, Chrysler with the Astrodome interior, you're looking at one of the coolest car interiors ever made by an American company. Number 1, Buick Riviera. The 1963 to 65 Buick Riviera. Now Buick wasn't the only one in the running to make this car. Different parts of General Motors, like Oldsmobile and Pontiac, wanted in on the action. Originally, GM thought about bringing back the Lal automobile nameplate, but that didn't pan out. Then they let different GM divisions pitch their designs. Buick won. At the same time, the interior was decked out with shiny details and sleek switches. Especially for the air conditioning controls, it looked amazing. Honestly, the 1965 Riviera might just be one of the best looking cars ever made by any American company, at least according to many people. Unlike the Oldsmobile Tornado and Cadillac Eldorado, which were part of the GM E platform, the Riviera initially had a front engine and rear-wheel drive setup. However, starting with the 1979 model year, it switched to front-wheel drive. Over time, the Riviera saw a lot of changes. While early models stayed true to their original design, subsequent generations varied in size and style. In total, 1,127,261 Rivieras were made. The Riviera name made a comeback with 2 concept cars displayed at auto shows in 2007 and 2013. So, which car did you like the most? Share with us in the comments below. Also hit the like and subscribe button before you go.